I'd like to thank Diva Designing on a Dime with Kimberly Davis for hosting this $10 Thrifting Challenge Fall Edition. Make sure you subscribe to her page. You will find a link to that in the description below. You'll also find a link to this playlist. Watch all the playlists, support those that are involved in it. And if you have a minute, subscribe to H2 Home Designs on YouTube. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Oh, I love the sound of clanking old bottles. Well, hi there. This is Heidi with H2 Home Designs, where I share innovative and artful designs for your home. I just got back from a fun day of thrifting with my husband. It was a little bit unexpected. He asked me this morning, hey, would you be interested in going to a rummage sale with me? And I said, oh, sure. And so we drove to a little town about 20 minutes from here, stopped at the one sale, and as we were pulling into town, we just continued to see rummage sale sign, garage sale sign, yard sale sign all over town, and realized that it was actually sort of a day for the rummage sales in that community. So it was a major score for us. But I wanted to show you a couple things that I picked up today, and then I want to talk to you about a project that I have in mind. I was able to find something that was kind of an interesting, unique find for a great price, and I've got an idea for something I'm going to do with it. I want to share it with you. So first of all, just a couple of things. Bottles, green bottles. Colored bottles are really trending right now, so I went ahead and picked up a trio of green bottles. And actually, the cute little man that I bought these from was telling me all about how some of these were from Poland, so he talked me into buying actually a couple more than I had intended to. But look at how cute that little green bottle is. So I'm going to be using these for staging. So if you do any kind of staging yourself, or you have a little shop, these are a great idea. Try and work with the bottles in quantity. So, you know, quantity of 3, usually an odd number is probably best, or any kind of display, that type of thing. But anyway, these are a great find. 50 cents a piece. Woo! And let me show you, I got a whole bunch more stuff, but look at these bottles. They're 2 apothecary type bottles. Unfortunately, they don't have the cork, so I might have to see if I can get a wine bottle cork or something that might work in these. But they came in this cute little kind of carry-all basket. And this whole box of bottles, except for the green ones I just showed you, whole box, including this big one, jar with artichokes in it, and this jar in a basket as well. The whole box was 50 cents. I was really excited to see that. So anyway, I got lots of different items for staging, and for those of you who watch the work that I do, you'll get to see those as time goes on. But the thing that I wanted to show you is this. And it's a little bit awkward to show on camera because of the way it's built, but this is actually the upright, you can see, for a mirror that would go on top of a dresser. And the mirror was included. I loved it so much I decided to go ahead and pull the mirror off. You can see there's some holes there on the side where you put the pins in to hold up the mirror. I took the mirror off, and I'm going to redo the mirror for the interior of my house, but I decided that I was going to take these beautiful little architectural pieces. Look at how beautifully they're crafted. I was going to take those and make something really cool out of them. So the whole piece, amazingly enough, was $9.99. So I spent under 10 bucks. For this, I'm going to get at least two projects out of it. I've got a couple ideas for this, but we'll see what comes up. I think there's some beauty to come. And then this little guy. So what I'd like to do is have you come along with me as I rework this piece and make something really fun out of this thrifted, rummage, salvaged piece. And I'd love to have you share it with me. And by the way, I'm a little confused. We're in a new state, and here they call it rummage sales. Where I came from, we called it garage sales. But here I've seen rummage sales, garage sales, tag sales, yard sales. I'm a little confused. Are they all the same thing? If you know, let me know. Put a note in the comments here and let me know, what are they called in your area? It's simply a sale of all your old stuff. So whatever that means in your area, I'd kind of like to know. Rummage sale was the thing for the day today, but I think in my town they're actually called garage sales. So anyway, share with me your thoughts on that and let's get working on it. I'm going to start out using my miter saw and remove those uprights from the frame. So now that we have our uprights removed from the frame, it's time to get creative. And we're going to be making Christmas ornaments. These are Christmas ornaments made from old architectural elements. So we've got a piece here, and you can just envision this piece being broken down into 3, 4, 5 even, I suppose, different parts, all of which are going to be ornaments of some kind. And this idea really, it's not my own. The first time I saw this idea was done by Debbie's Design Diary. If you haven't checked her out, check her out. She's a true artist and does some really, really beautiful things. So the idea started there, but I tend to gravitate to pieces like this, old architectural elements. So for me, it's an easy Christmas ornament DIY project to do, and I think you're really going to enjoy it too. So let's just see, if we were to start making some cuts on this piece, I can almost envision maybe our first cut being made right here. So this piece, this beautiful piece with the little ball on top, that could be our first ornament. And then maybe the second could be this portion here. It could just be the block if we wanted to just do this block piece. That's a possibility. Or we could go, I don't know, we could go to here, just underneath the block, and then save some of this ring here for another ornament. Not sure, but then on the other side, look at that beautiful piece on the other side. That can also be used to make an ornament as well. So that's my process now. There's really no rhyme or reason to this, and if you come across pieces similar to this, could be old fence posts, porch posts, the newels from stairs. There's all kinds of things that you can use to make this kind of ornament out of. So just be creative, be inventive. So back to our miter saw, and you can use a hand saw with this. You don't have to use a miter saw. We have just actually moved into this location, so you can see we're kind of in boxes everywhere, and my miter saw was just the most easily accessible tool that I had available to me. So I'm going to go ahead and use my miter saw. And I got my hair back up again. I'm going to put on some glasses just to kind of protect my eyes. And let's go ahead and start cutting. So I'm just going to line this up here, and it's hard for you to see. I apologize. I know you're a little bit far away, but trust me, these are going to turn out nice, and I will show them to you as soon as I get them cut. So my first one's going to be kind of just a tiny little, almost kind of tiny little delicate ornament. So I'm going to go ahead and cut. And let me show you what I came up with. Look at this little piece. Isn't that beautiful? And it can be hung this way, it can be hung that way. We'll play around a little bit with that, but there's the first ornament. And I decided I wanted to leave this little piece on top of the block because I think it's kind of interesting and make for a nice ornament. Okay, I think I'm going to make my next cut right about here, if you can see that. And I'm just lining it up, making sure safety, cords are out of the way, hair is out of the way, paying attention to what I'm doing, fingers are out of the way. Alrighty, there's our next little ornament. And let's see what we've got left. This piece here is absolutely beautiful. I could almost do a small one from this side and another one from this side, and then this piece here, this longer piece, I don't know, but it may be that I'll decide to make just some kind of a standalone decorative piece that could maybe be a real nice chippy white or another color. So I'm going to save that centerpiece, and we're going to use that for something else, I think. So let's see. And here we go. Okay, there's our next one. And I think I'm going to be able to pull Should I or shouldn't I? I actually think I'm just going to leave this one as it is because I like it, and I might be able to put a little pedestal and a foot on there and actually create kind of a candlestick holder, but it could hold other kinds of things as well. So I'm going to hang on to that one. And let's go ahead with the second one. These don't have to be alike, so what I did with the first ones I don't have to do with this next one. I wish I had you here to give me your feedback. I think it's going to be a little bit different. That one turned out pretty. Love that one. Okay, let's see. And again, I like this piece, but I don't necessarily want, if I'm going to create two pieces, I don't necessarily want them to be matching, because I think they'll be more interesting if they're not. So let's see. I think I keep dropping my ornaments on the floor. Maybe this one a little bit longer. Here we go. Now line it up carefully. Okay. There's another nice ornament. And one more here. Be our last one. All right, so I've got these two pieces that with a little pedestal or something like that could be perhaps some interesting little architectural pieces that could be put up on a shelf. So we'll work on those. And then I have a number of them that have hit the floor here, but let me just line them all up here and hopefully you can see them. Okay, so those are all the pieces that we're going to use for ornaments, and I think they're going to be adorable. The next thing we're going to do is get out a little bit of sandpaper. You can use an orbital sander if you'd like. Might be a little bit faster, and I might actually do that this time. Get them sanded down a little bit, and then we'll start some painting. Okay, now we are ready to do some sanding of our ornaments. I've just got an orbital sander with some 220 grit sandpaper. It's just sort of a in-between. It's not super coarse and it's not super fine, so it's a nice sort of in-between grit to use on your orbital sander. Make sure that you've got your protective equipment on. I'm outside versus doing this in my garage. Got a mask that I can wear, and I'm going to put some glasses on to help protect my eyes. You know, there's only one you, so take care of yourself and make sure that you're being safe when you're working with any of these tools. So let's get sanding. Okay, so you can see that I've got everything nicely sanded. For the most part, I didn't sand off the finish on this with the paint that we're going to be using. That's not going to be necessary. But I did sand off that edge, that kind of sharp edge or rough edge that you get from the cutting. And on the pieces that had the pin running through them with the holes, I did sand those a little bit. Don't know yet if we're going to cover up the holes with something, fill the holes. That's yet to be decided, but I decided I wanted to make sure those were a little bit flatter. I think we are ready to start the painting process. So before we get started with our decorative finish, let's talk a little bit about paint. You want a couple of different kinds of paint that you're going to use as sort of an undercoat. Then you're going to want your main or your primary coat, and then we're going to do some sort of decorative finishes on the top. And you can see I've got a bowl of ornaments here. This is kind of the theme that I'm working off of with my ornaments. So it's helpful sometimes just to have something in front of you that gives you a little bit of inspiration. You'll want to make sure you have something to paint with. You'll also need a paper towel, a little bit of water to clean out your brushes. And we're going to start with what I'm calling the base coat. The base coat is just a layer of paint, and it can be one color, it can be 5, 10 colors if you like, that are going to be the very base of your piece. And we're going to do a little distressing at the end, so our base colors are going to shine through just a little bit. I'm starting off with a pewter here, and I'm just painting it in patches on the ornament. And you can see I have that nice tray of ornaments there. That's really the theme or the inspiration that I'm going for. So you'll see as I create these ornaments that they're really going to tie in well with that inspiration. And I encourage you to do the same thing when you're creating. Come up with something that really inspires you and have it in front of you if you need to. Sometimes that helps me to create, and it helps me to get the colors just right so things all really kind of meld together. And next I'm going to apply some black acrylic paint. And again, I'm just adding this in patches on the ornament, making sure that both the top and the bottom are covered in paint. Top and bottom are raw wood because we've cut through them, and we want to make sure that they get a good covering of paint. Now I'm just working on the rest of the ornaments, going about and adding that layer. And now I'm going to add a primary coat. This primary coat is this beautiful Mediterranean blue-green that you see that I'm really trying to tie into those ornaments there. So we're going to add this primary coat. It's going to cover completely. And you can see the paint I used was a little bit watered down. I had some left over, and I wanted to go ahead and try the watered down version to see if I could get a little more of that base coat to shine through. So now we're distressing. I simply have a wet paper towel, and I am rubbing it on the paint, that base coat, or the top coat rather, that we put on. And I only waited till my paint was just dry to the touch. I didn't want to wait too long so that I could hopefully get some nice distressing on my piece. And you'll start to see some of the finish and some of your base coat shine through. You can really see it on this piece here, how beautiful it is. Next, we're going to add hangers, and I came across a box of curtain rings, I guess you call them, at a thrift store, and I thought these are going to be great for something, and I didn't know at the time what they'd be great for. Well, this is the project. These are great hangers for ornaments. They look upscale, kind of fancy, but they're really not. The trick here is going to be to add them to your ornaments. I bought eye hooks and the curtain rings, and I just have these tiny little pieces of wire. You can use string, wire, whatever you like to tie the two together. Now screw your eye hooks into the top of your ornaments so that your hangers are held securely. Finally, you want to apply that top decorative coat. I've chosen to use a couple metallic colors to give mine just the right sparkle and shine. So could you have ever imagined this $9.99 thrift store find could turn into one of the most beautiful things you're ever going to put on your Christmas tree? We went from this to these. Can you believe we created these out of a $10 thrift store item? I'm just in awe myself. They look beautiful on a tree or hanging from a mantle and make beautiful gifts. They're truly one of a kind. Like what you've seen? Follow H2 Home Designs on YouTube. Love to have you there. And if it's up to you today, be the reason someone smiles today. Take care.